My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 78 fight card, giving you my picks, my predictions, and my bets. But before I do, let me give you $50. I pay out thousands of dollars a week. You don't need to be a premium member. You don't need to be a subscriber. You don't even have to like us. All you need to do is go to wewantpicks.com/bets, sign up with any one of our betting partners using our links, make a deposit, and I send you $50. It's literally that simple. It's affiliate marketing, right? They're going to pay me, then I'm going to break off a piece of that and give it right back to you. Just make sure you use our link, wewantpicks.com/bets, sign up, make a deposit, and I send you $50. Let's talk about UFC Nashville very quickly. UFC Nashville, it was a real hit or miss card. It's hard to be excited or be miserable. It was tricky. I'm down units, down about a half a unit total. Jacob is up units. He did pretty well. His lock of the week lost. My safety parlay won. And then I got a little squirrely. I did a 3-leg, and then the third leg missed. So super tricky card overall. But the safety parlay, here's a little more insight. Premium members, you see that chart on the page breaking down every safety parlay ever. For everybody else, this is what it looks like. There's been 60 parlays ever. So there's been 60 units out the door on safety parlays and 78.69 units back. That is 30% ROI. And anybody who loves to measure things in ROI, that is the greatest ROI you will get on any single bet in history, right? Nobody consistently week in and week out is providing 30% ROI. You're just not. Maybe one weekend, maybe even a month, but not consistently. This is over 60 events. So while last night had 2 safety parlays and they went 1-1, thanks Ignacio Bahamondes, that was a mistake. And full disclosure, anytime I put up a 3-leg safety parlay, I'm pretty sure it misses. And this week, I have a 3-leg safety parlay up. So just tail the base. Tail the base. Last night's base was the easiest base of all time. Absolutely crushed. This week's base, also super easy. Should absolutely crush. The third leg, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So there's just my insight there. But overall, last night was an interesting card. Jacob is up units, and the safety parlay continues to be a success overall. But certainly if the first thing you did was just shoot right to the 3-leg because you see the plus number, that probably didn't work out for you. So this week, full disclosure, just skip the third leg. Let's just skip the third. If I could undo it, I would, but I can't. It's already out there. WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member to unlock that safety parlay that is giving you a 30% ROI. And if you're a premium member, check out the chart. Check out every safety parlay we have ever put on the board. You can scroll through it, sort it, and do all the things. And let's talk about all the things. A lot of people come here, want to copy paste. A lot of people come here for the tools. A lot of people come here for the insight. A lot of people become premium members literally just to show support, and that is incredibly appreciated. But premium membership is far more than a couple of copy paste bets. And our community knows it because they have absolutely been crushing it. We have $23,000 in winning tickets from our premium members alone at UFC Nashville. $23,000 on one of the trickier cards of the year. And these are people who, in the middle of the night, right? That card ended at midnight. In the middle of the night, are tweeting, are emailing, are posting their winning tickets. And these are from premium members only. It's absolutely incredible what our community is able to do with the tools, with the insight, with their own information. It's absolutely incredible what our premium members are able to put on the board. Congratulations to the premium members. And if you want to join them, just go to wewantpicks.com, click become a member. You will unlock everything you could ever imagine. I'm going to focus specifically on the tools and the insight and the information. You're going to get the line movement tracker. This gives you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every single fighter on every single card. This week for UFC Vegas 78, only one fighter opened as a favorite and is going to close as a dog, and that is Juliana Miller. Huge line movement for her. And then 6 fighters have had 20% line movement or more. One of these fighters had 68% line movement. Keep an eye on that. Use this to hop off or hop on a trend or to sort of reinforce how you're feeling or scare you away from a potential bad bet. You're also going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. Listen, if you do your own research, right? Some people don't. They just look at a couple of favorites, put them together, and then they yell when it doesn't hit, right? Some people just copy other bets and then, it wasn't their own insight. We give you detailed data, metrics, and analytics. This is from like 10 different sources. You're going to get biometric stats. You're going to get striking stats. You're going to get grappling stats. You're going to get fantasy stats. You're going to get betting lines. And it's all going to be laid out right next to each other, each fighter. And you scroll your way across and you can use that to do your research and do your insight. If you were going to build this yourself or do this research on your own, it would literally take you hours. I pay somebody to do this and it takes him hours just to build this. I don't know about you, but if you value your time as much as me, it is worth paying $10 a month and just having everybody put this together. Even if you make minimum wage, what is that, 7 something in some states? That's an hour and a half worth of wage for an entire month's worth of details, data, metrics, analytics, and insight to save you the time and trouble from doing that work. You're also going to get a DraftKings lineup optimizer. Go to our DraftKings video and check out the almost $200,000 worth of winning tickets from premium members from the last 2 months. And they have access to a whole suite of tools and insight, including the optimizer. This will just build lineups for you. You're also going to get more than just me, more than just Jacob. We have Artem. You know Artem is picking at a 69% rate? 69% rate he is picking fights. Make sure you become a premium member. Pay the $10 a month. We have 4 events in this pay cycle. So $10 is going to unlock 4 events worth of data, insight, tools, information, and everything else. You're going to get me. You're going to get Jacob. You're going to get Artem. And you're going to get the Pick Doctor. He is developing an AI. Follow the AI's journey. We have multiple AI models out right now. Just striking, just grappling, just biometrics, a combined AI. Follow the journey. Stick with that trend and let's see where that ends up, because eventually, that will be outpicking every single one of us. Guys, premium membership is only $10 a month. WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top. Let's go ahead and break down this card. We've had a lot of good cards in a row. We've been spoiled, right? We've been spoiled. We had UFC London. We had a couple of pay-per-views, UFC Nashville. We have a pay-per-view after this event. So we have been spoiled. This card is going to feel like a lull. But there's a couple of sneaky good matchups on here. And opening up the UFC Vegas 78 fight card, we have Terrance McKinney stepping up on ridiculously short notice to take on Mike Breeden. Terrance McKinney just fought, but 2 weeks ago. He had a second-round submission loss, and now he's back. He's coming in here, and he's taking on Mike Breeden. Terrance McKinney's incredibly talented. This kid has solid hands, solid wrestling, solid BJJ. And if Terrance McKinney had full-blown cardio and Drew Dober's chin, he would be undefeated right now, because he has every single tool you would want as a fighter. But he does gas a little bit, and if he gets cracked, his chin doesn't necessarily hold up every time. He is coming off that loss just 2 weeks ago to Nazim Sadikov, where he had a wrestle-heavy game plan. It worked for him in the first round, then he lost the scramble in the second and was submitted. He's taking on Mike Breeden. Mike Breeden has 2 fights in the UFC, and they were both over a year ago. His UFC debut was a short-notice step-up knockout loss to Alexander Hernandez, and his last fight was a decision to Natan Levy. Mike is a good striker. He's got solid range control and variety. He's got some power in his hands, but not enough to steal a fight later in the rounds. He's more of a volume guy that's always throwing something. He has okay takedown defense, but his get-up game is very solid, even when he gets taken down. He's coming off that loss to Natan Levy, where unfortunately he was taken down 9 times. But as I always say, if he was taken down 9 times, that means he stood up 8, or at least, 5, because there's rounds. So the reality is, Mike Breeden can be taken down, but Mike Breeden's not just going to accept bottom. Right now, Terrance McKinney is sitting at an astonishing 4-1 favorite. 4-1 favorite, and that's insane. I was hoping that his loss a few weeks ago would have the odds a little closer than that, right? I was hoping Vegas and the public and the sharps would just be like, nope, this guy can't win, and then hammer the other side or open the line a little closer. But no, Terrance McKinney became a 4-1 freaking favorite, and I actually get it. I understand how he got there, because even though he lost to Nazim, he went to a wrestling game plan, and he's a very good wrestler. He's a JUCO All-American wrestler, and he went to that game plan, and it worked for him in the first round. He just got caught in the second in a bad scramble, essentially. Mike Breeden, I mentioned, was just taken down 9 times by Natan Levy, who isn't half the wrestler that Terrance McKinney is. So the reality is, Terrance McKinney can come in here, can get the takedowns, can ride this out, and can win this fight. The problem is, Terrance McKinney doesn't have 3 rounds worth of cardio. Mike Breeden doesn't quit on himself. Mike Breeden is going to keep trying to stand up, and Terrance just fought 2 weeks ago. Terrance cut all the weight, fought, lost that fight. I imagine had a good time. Ate, relaxed, and shoveled bread in his mouth. I imagine that's what happened after. And then stopped feeling bad for himself, got right back to the gym. I don't know what his weight situation is. I don't know what the weight cut situation is. We need Terrance McKinney to wrestle to win this fight, or at least wrestle hard to win this fight. Terrance McKinney's still going to be the pick, but low confidence, and I'm staying far, far away from these 4-1 odds. Maybe we will get lucky. One of my best bets, I actually tailed Jacob on this. One of my best bets from UFC Nashville was Corey Sandhagen to get more takedowns. We got it at -120. That is a Bet Online exclusive, right? So sign up, WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use the link. I'll send you $50. We may get lucky with a Terrance McKinney line that's like -200. And that's a guarantee because he's going to get more takedowns. Whether he wins a fight or not, it's a whole different situation. But he will get more takedowns. So if you're a premium member, make sure your Discord is linked so that we can send you those notifications as soon as that prop bet drops and as soon as we hit it. Because if it's anywhere under -300 something, I'm probably going to hit that, because the reality is Terrance McKinney will get takedowns, probably win this first round, then slow down later, and God knows what's going to happen then. Win the first round, that is also a prop bet that we've had some success with. So what that prop bet does is you just have to win the first round on the judges' scorecards or by finish. So we'll take a look at all of those. Make sure your Discord is linked so you can get the alerts on your phone. If it's not linked, just go to your account page on Premium and click link Discord. Next up, we have Josh Parisian taking on Martin Buday. Josh Parisian is a come-forward busy striker. He's got a ton of output. He can throw punches for a full 15 minutes, but they do start to lose their sting, and he does slow down a little bit later in the rounds. While he does have 10 knockouts under his belt, he's not a one-punch power guy, right? You see heavyweight, you see knockouts. That's not necessarily who he is, right? He's not Derek Lewis. He's typically coming forward, using volume. He relies on pressure and the occasional takedown. He is all volume and the occasional takedown. That is his game plan every single time, every single fight. He is coming off that decision loss to Jamal Pogues, where he gave up 5 of his own takedowns, and then a canceled fight just a few weeks ago against Walt Harris when he popped for a USADA issue. Martin Buday is a powerful striker. He's got heavy hands, 10 stoppage wins. He has solid footwork, and he throws everything with intent. The knock on him is that he can be gun shy, and he is a bit hittable. He's got that negative striking differential, and he can be a slow starter. He's coming off that 3rd decision win of his career, where Martin landed 25% more total strikes, and he controlled that forward pace. Martin is a 2-1 favorite here, and I go back and forth a bit because personally, I do think Martin wins this fight, right? He's proved that he has power. He's proved that he can go 15 full minutes. And he just beat Jake Collier, who basically is the exact same fighter as Josh Parisian. But with all that being said, I do look at this line and then I convince myself that it's a disrespectful line to Josh Parisian, because the reality is that Martin should be the better striker, should have better cardio and takedown defense to keep it standing. But Josh Parisian's a busy guy. He's got a decent chin on him, and he can just keep coming forward, get Martin against the cage, and squeak out one of these like terrible heavyweight, boring decisions. But Martin should win this fight. I'm fairly confident in him, and this is likely a decision. Maybe we get lucky and they mess up this round line and give us a 1.5 because they're heavyweights, and we can go ahead and hit the over 2.5. And fun fact, my most successful bets are round lines. I hit both of my round lines at UFC Nashville. So this week when they drop, I will take a very close look at those, because for some reason I have a lot of success going overs and unders on the rounds. Then we have Juliana Miller taking on UFC newcomer Luana Santos. Juliana Miller, she is inexperienced. She's the Ultimate Fighter champion. She won the Ultimate Fighter against Brogan Walker. She is inexperienced. She only has 5 professional fights total. But she is focused. She is intense. She isn't the most skilled fighter, but she will work. She's aggressive. She comes forward immediately. And while she can be wild on her feet, she is pretty much a grappler. She wants to push the pace. She wants to get the takedowns. The inexperience and lack of actual skill ends up catching up to her, because she has all the heart, she has all the determination, but she doesn't know what to do with it. She's coming off that loss to Victoria Hardy, where she was a -450 favorite, and she looked like shit. She looked awful. I know the whole world is going to be like, Juliana Miller sucks. Here's the reality. She has 5 professional fights, and she's in the largest, most popular, highest talent-ridden promotion on the planet. That's like being a mediocre high school football player and sending them to the NFL. They don't have the experience yet. Yeah, they're gritty. They want to get it done. And that's what's always odd when the UFC scoops up these super young, inexperienced, but potentially talented people. You're just throwing them to the wolves. And that's what happened to Juliana Miller in her last one. Minus 450 favorite and just was absolutely beat on. Anyway, she's taking on somebody with similar amount of experience, Luana Santos. And Luana Santos is a very slick grappler. She has nice judo throws and control before she works to submission. She's patient on top, and she does an amazing job of maintaining her positions after getting takedowns. She doesn't have the best striking, but she does rely very heavily on her judo throws. And that is sort of the difference between these two women. Juliana Miller is like tough, aggressive, has that like the fire in her, but no actual background in anything. She just showed up to a gym one day and said, I want to fight. Where Luana Santos has been doing judo her whole life and has had success doing judo and took that and said, well, I can make some money fist fighting with this skill. And that's why Luana Santos is going to win this fight, right? Juliana Miller might have been the worst minus 450 favorite in the history of this sport. It was embarrassing for the entire sport. She couldn't defend a takedown to save her entire life. And then she spent the entire fight just throwing up random Hail Mary submissions off of her back. She's definitely tough. She's a gamer. But when she can't get takedowns, she has absolutely nothing to offer. I don't think she's going to get a takedown here. I wish Santos had more than just judo throws because, maybe Juliana just blitzes forward, holds her against the cage. I don't know, right? But I think Juliana's going to get it done. And I got a quarter of a unit on her at minus 140. Frankly, after hearing my own self-talk right now, when I'm done filming this, I'm probably going to hit that again. And I imagine that line's going to take off. A lot of people are going to look at this, and the line is going to move. This is what happens with betting lines in MMA. They drop sometimes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month out, depending on the caliber of fight. The lines drop. They instantly jump, right, one direction or the other immediately. And these are from high rollers, they call them sharps, that have tools and algorithms, and they have bots and stuff like that alert them, and then bang, they hammer the lines. Then they settle. Those are normalized odds. They settle. And they pretty much stay settled for however long. Then the Sunday before fights, today, the day I'm filming this video, the lines start to move again. And the closer you get to the fight, the more and more it moves, because that's when the general public is starting to give a shit. Right now, it is 7:50 in the morning, and I am filming this video. Most people are just waking up, still thinking about UFC Nashville, going to go look at a comment so they can say something horrific and think that they're funny. And then later tonight, tomorrow, they'll start to look at, what's the next card? Oh, that's a good bet. And that's when these lines start to move. So I got Luana Santos at minus 140 2 days ago. I'm positive Luana Santos is probably going to close in the minus 200 ranges as this week goes on, because everybody just saw what Juliana Miller has to offer when she's taken down. Luana Santos will take her down. I do recommend tailing that bet, even though it is a UFC debut women's MMA fight. Then we have JP Buys taking on Marcus McGhee. Marcus McGhee is my most confident pick on this card. You can skip if you'd like, but let's go ahead and break him down anyway. He made a big splash in his UFC debut. He stepped up on short notice. He then dropped and submitted Journey Newsom, who's fast, athletic, hits hard, right? Journey Newsom's no bum. Marcus McGhee steps up, short notice, bang, blasts him, bang, jumps on him, submits him. Style-wise, he's a powerful guy. He's got heavy hands. He has takedowns, and he has one-punch knockouts all over his career. His takedown defense is solid, and he has slick submissions that he uses in scrambles. He sets a nice pace, and he carries that power later into fights. He's taking on JP Buys. This guy's a very, very good wrestler. Every loser that thinks they're funny is going to talk about his ex-wife. It's so stupid. Grow up, get a better joke. That stopped being funny 2 years ago. He's a very good wrestler, a very, very, very good wrestler. He averages almost 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. His offensive wrestling is very solid, but his defensive wrestling could absolutely lose some work, and it only sits at 25%. He is chinny, but as long as his chin will keep him vertical, he's going to come forward, he's going to fight. He's better than his recent fight skid, and he is not a quitter but he's not good enough to win this fight. And that does suck for him because he goes out there, he lays it out. He's not a quitter. He's not soft. He's just had some pretty terrible matchups and some bad luck with the chin that God gave him. But as I mentioned, Marcus is my most confident pick on this card. His minus 350 odds are a gift. Remember when I said Tatiana Suarez should be minus 1,000? It's a similar feeling here. Marcus McGhee should be minus 1,000. The reality is JP does have offensive wrestling, but he's got no chin. Marcus has wrestling defense. He's got power. I think he blasts through JP Bays. I think he gets a finish, and I will probably hammer the inside the distance prop bet when that drops. For now, Marcus McGhee is a parlay piece. If you're not a premium member, become one. It's $10 a month. You're going to get everything in the world. If you go to our YouTube homepage, our profile page on YouTube, there's a 20-minute video walking you through all the features and functionality of premium. It's not just a Discord. A lot of people sign up thinking it's a Discord. It's not. It's a website with tools, interactive information, everything you can imagine, and then the Discord, which pushes you alerts and gives you this, the ability to engage in real time. It's $10 a month. Once you become a premium member, link that Discord because the real-time alerts are very, very important, especially for a fight like this. The Marcus McKee prop bets are going to drop, and we're going to hit them instantly, and we're going to let you know the very second that we do because there's going to be some real opportunity coming for us. Probably Monday, maybe early Tuesday. The props have been dropping earlier and earlier. And we got Francis Marshall taking on the Midwest hype boy, Isaac Dulgarian. Francis Marshall is a heavy-handed grappler. He comes forward, he's got power, and then he's got speed that sets up his just good old-fashioned takedowns and jiu-jitsu. He is comfortable striking, but he's almost too comfortable, right? He's going to keep his hands low. He's going to throw out long jabs and hooks. When he shoots, they are well-timed. They're full of energy. He's young in his career, and he's hit more than he should be. He almost has a negative striking differential. Not quite, but almost. But he does do a nice job of baiting you into a striking match. Like, all right, we're throwing hands, and then bang. He'll drop, he'll shoot blast doubles. He's coming off that loss to William Gomez where he was a step behind in the striking. He couldn't get close enough to wrestle, but when he did in the third, he almost finished that kid. He's taking on Isaac Dulgarian. This kid's a legit prospect. He's exciting to watch. You can't even type half of his name on the internet without getting 1,000 wrestling videos popping up. He is a solid high school wrestler. He had success both in folk style, which is the normal American style. It's so dumb. We're the only country that does that. The normal American style of wrestling, as well as freestyle, which is the international standard. He's a solid striker. He stays light on his feet, and then he engages until he has openings to shoot at takedowns. What I like about his wrestling for MMA is he's just going to snatch things. He'll just grab a single, and he'll go from there. Like Asu Almabayev, you watch that fight against O'Day Osborne, he grabbed a single, bam, ran the pipe. He wasn't shooting doubles. He wasn't getting stuck underneath all stretched out. And Isaac Dulgarian has those similar takedowns. He'll snatch a single. He'll wait till you throw something, catch it, and then go from there. The problem is, while he's well-rounded, while he's a big prospect, a lot of hype about him, he only has 5 fights. We have no idea how good he actually is because nobody he fought is anywhere good enough to be in the UFC. And this is a tough fight. That's all, folks. This is a tough fight to break down. And a lot of it has to do with Isaac's level of competition. I have no idea if he's good or not. I can tell in tape that he has skills, but I don't know what's going to happen when somebody tries to take him down or somebody punches him in the face or when he walks into the cage and says, holy shit, I'm in the UFC. I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's the problem here because on the other hand, we do know that Francis is a dog. We know that he's going to continue pressuring forward no matter what. I mentioned that loss to Gomez, but he almost had a late third-round submission and pulled off the win. The pick is going to be Marshall because I know how tough he is. I know that he's going to be in that. I know he might get taken down. I know he could lose a decision. He can get ridden out. There's just so many unknowns here. I'm going to have to go with Francis Marshall in an extremely low confident pick because I've seen him be a dog. We just haven't seen that yet from Isaac, but he is a prospect. We'll see what the odds do this week. I feel like the odds in this fight are going to be super weird. I feel like whoever the underdog is, it'll bet super close, and then the other way will move, and I think that's what's going to happen because I'm imagining a lot of people have the same hesitancy that I do. Then we have Jaqueline Amorim taking on Montserrat Ruiz. And Montserrat Ruiz is coming back after a full 2 years away and the incredibly fast knockout loss to Amanda Lemos. Skill-wise, she's a national wrestling champion. She loves to come forward, and she just non-stops wrestling. Once she gets the takedown, she throws a lot of strikes while trying to maintain control. While she is an accomplished wrestler, and I love my wrestlers, I have two concerns. The first is that she's hittable. Very, very hittable. The fact that she's constantly wrestling and still has a negative striking differential is crazy. You should not be hit that much when you're taking people down. The second is that like 90% of her takedowns are side headlocks. She's not shooting doubles. She's reaching for headlocks like a 6-year-old. I coached wrestling for a very, very long time. I coached high school, then I left high school to coach youth. We didn't have a youth program in our town. Myself and one of the other coaches or fathers said, let's start a youth wrestling program so we can feed this high school. Ended up being successful. The high school won a couple state championships after that. But the point is, while coaching youth wrestling, we would tell the kids, you got to show them a side headlock because you need to know it. You need to know how to get out of it. It happens to you, and you want it in your tool bag. If you're down, you need to get a pin with a minute left. Let's go, side headlock. But any kid that threw a side headlock when we didn't tell them to would have to do 100 push-ups, even if they won the match. And the reason is because a side headlock is a hokey bullshit move that will not work on good people. You're going to get it, and then you're going to get attached to it because it's easy and it feels great, and then you're going to go through your wrestling career using the side headlock, and once you get to the better wrestlers and the higher levels, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. It should never be your first move ever. And that's what worries me about Montserrat Ruiz. While I love my wrestlers, that is her go-to move. Side headlock, side headlock, side headlock, side headlock. One bad side headlock and somebody has your back. One bad side headlock and you're facing the wrong direction. You get rear naked choke standing up. I hate that for her, but she is very good. She's better than her flash 20-second knockout, whatever her last fight was. She's taken on, after that rant, she's taken on Jaqueline Amorim. Jaqueline Amorim is a very talented prospect. She is a slick grappler. She's got blast doubles, a myriad of submissions. She also has power in her hands and is a genuine threat everywhere. She comes forward like a buzzsaw and just cuts through everything in front of her. Her striking is a bit wide. It is raw, but the power is insane. You don't see too many people at this weight class that could one-punch knock out somebody, but Jaqueline definitely can. She's coming out of that loss to Sam Hughes where it was clear that she had great takedowns, great BJJ, but absolutely zero cardio whatsoever. And Jaqueline's a minus 250 favorite right now. I would stay very, very far away from that line. She's probably the better overall fighter, right? Because she's got the slick BJJ. She does have power in her hands, but she might literally have negative cardio. She could somehow show up with less cardio than she had 5 minutes earlier. She absolutely gasses, and she gasses quickly. Montserrat was one punch KO'd by Amanda Lemos, and obviously that could happen here as well. But outside of that, she has cardio. She's gritty, and she will work. Everything in me wants to pick Montserrat, but the 2 years away definitely scares me because I have no idea what's been happening in that time. I am going to lay my nuts on the table here. I'm going to pick Montserrat Ruiz, but for the love of God, do not bet on this fight. I don't know if I could have been more clear than that. Do not bet on this fight. Watch the weigh-ins. Maybe something spectacular happens, but don't bet a minus 250 favorite who has no cardio whatsoever and who is fighting a national champion wrestler. That is stupid. Don't do it. Speaking of weigh-ins, we've been getting requests. Guys, do a post-weigh-in show. Do a post-weigh-in show. The reality is I can't possibly do any more than I already do. If you're a premium member and you see everything on that webpage, myself and Josh do all of that. Josh keeps everything running. Josh does a whole bunch of the write-ups and the breakdowns, and I'm constantly throwing information up there, putting my bets in there, building these graphics, doing these videos. I film 6 videos a week, 7 a week, whatever it is. I can't do a post-weigh-in show, but maybe you can. If you are a content creator, if you're in this space and you are more than just a lazy bones dude that throws up Tapology, we're a high-quality production here. You're never going to see Tapology in the background. You're just not going to. These are all custom graphics. If you're on that level where you put pride and time and effort into what you do and you have the abilities to edit a video and you watch the weigh-ins, reach out, let me know. Maybe we can figure something out because we do want to put out a high-quality post-weigh-in video where you talk about the weigh-ins and only the weigh-ins, what the fighters look like, who didn't look good, who did look good, potentially pictures, video clips, maybe talking about how their weigh-in this fight was compared to the last 4, something to that effect. So if you're in that space and you're interested, reach out, let me know. If you've never done this shit before, don't reach out. If you have a video and it's you with a magic marker on a board because you can't figure out graphics, don't reach out. I appreciate the grind, but we are expecting higher quality stuff and so is our audience. Reach out, let me know. Genuinely interested in bringing somebody on to help do that. Then we have Josh Fremd taking on Jamie Pickett. Josh Fremd is a grappler. He's got solid athleticism, some sneaky power in his hands. When he can initiate the grappling exchanges, when he can get his wrestling going, he does very, very well. He has cardio, he has athleticism, and he is well-rounded. He's not a true martial artist, meaning he just started training mixed martial arts at a young age, and now he's pretty good everywhere. He's obviously focused on the grappling. That's what he's most comfortable with, but he's not like a lifelong wrestler or anything to that effect. He is improving very quickly in all aspects of MMA because of his athleticism, because of his dedication to the sport. And sometimes these younger guys that have no background in anything evolve faster because they don't have years worth of something built into them, right? If you spent your whole life as a striker and now you're learning grappling, it's hard. If you spent your whole life as a wrestler, you can get your takedowns, you can do all that, and wrestling is probably the best fundamental to have. But when it comes to jiu-jitsu, some of them struggle. They don't know what to do off their back. So somebody like Josh Fremd, young, athletic, hungry, is improving at an incredible rate because he has no official background. He's just absorbing everything that he can. And every fight out, you can see he's getting better and better and better. He's coming off that first win in the UFC where he had 2 takedowns, 4.5 minutes of control time, and the eventual submission win. He's taking on Jamie Pickett. This guy's a solid striker. He uses his length to manage the range and keep people at bay. If you look at the stats, he has a 3 to 4 striking differential. So he's definitely hit more than he hits his opponents. And that's 100% because he's gun shy. He keeps his hands down. He doesn't throw. He just sort of like waits. He does not let his hands go like he should. And it can be frustrating to watch at times because you know he's the better striker in most of his matchups, but he's just not throwing punches. He has a 66% takedown defense, and he will work in the occasional offensive takedown as well. He's coming off that first round submission loss to Bo Nickel, where a lot of people incorrectly threw a temper tantrum and assumed that Jamie Pickett was going to somehow defend that submission, but because he was kneed in the nuts, that's why he was taken down. That's a weird narrative that people are latching onto. Jamie Pickett was taken down by the most accomplished wrestler in the UFC right now. It's not that big of a deal, right? That's what was going to happen. I don't know what Jamie did to piss off the UFC, but they just give him bad matchup after bad matchup. This guy stepped up, fought somebody who nobody wants to fight. He fought Bo Nickel. No one else would do that. And then as a favor, the UFC's like, listen, thank you for doing this for us. Here's another guy that's stylistically a nightmare for you. Here you go. Here's a guy that's going to come forward and just wrestle the shit out of you, wet blanket you, and then grind out a win. So I think Josh Fremd wins. I actually like Jamie Pickett. I appreciate that he goes out there. He does fight. He is much, much better than his 3-7 UFC record. And if he lets his hands go, he can be a real problem. But I do think Josh Fremd wins this fight. Let's just hope he doesn't keep his head on the outside and get guillotined like he did against Tresean Gore, not Jor. What the fuck's Tresean Jor? Then we have a sneaky good fight. We got Khalil Rountree taking on Chris Daukaus. Khalil Rountree is a Muay Thai striker. He's got a ton of power. He's very fast. Khalil can knock anyone out on any day as long as he's the one dictating the pace and the pressure. He fights very well going forward, but he can have some issues backing up. He's coming off that win over Dustin Jacoby, who we just saw with an incredible win last night, where I do think the judges got it wrong. I think he lost to Dustin Jacoby. Khalil did stay busy. He had solid kicks, knees, he threw power, and that was all despite gassing out in the second round. He's taking on Chris Daukaus. Chris Daukaus is making his light heavyweight debut after a 3-fight skid at heavyweight. He's a pretty good boxer, and he's fast at heavyweight, and he ties in combinations well. He has power in his hands. He's got 4 TKO wins in the UFC, but also kind of a suspect chin, right? 3 knockout losses. But again, that was at heavyweight. Heavyweights hit a lot harder than light heavyweights. Daukaus has never been taken down or attempted a takedown in the UFC, but if it does end up on the ground, he is prepared. He has got a BJ Blade black belt. He's coming off that 23-second knockout loss to Jairzinho Rozenstruik, which really made him sit down and say, maybe I shouldn't be swinging against these big, heavyweights. So he's here at light heavyweight. And I mentioned this is a sneaky good fight. Khalil's going to be the more technical striker. He just is, and especially the more well-rounded one because he's not just a boxer. Chris is the much larger guy. He's going to be the more technical boxer. Just hands, Chris is going to be more technical. All-around striking, Khalil Rountree is going to be the better guy. If Chris worked in takedowns ever, I would like him to here because then he could use his size, lean on Khalil, take away that speed. But he's just a pure boxer. And I've got to go with Khalil here. I think the difference in light heavyweight speed and heavyweight speed is going to be the difference in this fight. Chris being the bigger guy isn't going to matter much because he's not a physical fighter. He doesn't lean on you. He doesn't make you carry his weight. He's just going to be striking. And yeah, he's bigger, but he doesn't even have a reach advantage. So I think Khalil Rountree with the kicks, with the speed, is going to touch up Chris Daukaus. This probably goes to a decision, but I think Khalil Rountree is going to get it done because, we'll see what Chris Daukaus looks like, right? I appreciate that he's going to be at light heavyweight. Maybe he looks phenomenal, but I think he's just going to look long, lanky, sucked out, and Khalil's probably going to dance around him and get it done. Then we have AJ Dobson taking on Tafon and Nchukwi. Tafon and Nchukwi is back down to middleweight, right? He had mixed success at light heavyweight. He bounced up, sort of a mixed bag of what happened. Now he's back down. He's a good technical striker. He's got legit power and solid technique. Historically, his issue was volume and speed, but when he hits a rhythm, he's absolutely in a rhythm, and he looks fantastic. He's fast. He hits hard. He's got great takedown defense. And it's also important to note here that Tafon isn't just a striker. He has 4 takedowns in 4 fights, and he went 3 for 3 against Mike Rodriguez. He's taking on AJ Dobson. AJ Dobson's also a striker. He also has incredibly fast hands, knees, and kicks. He's typically not gun shy, though, and he's going to throw in combinations while moving forward. He has a ton of power to mix in with his speed. He does have some wrestling as well, but his takedowns rely more on power than they do technique. He's going to grab an underhook, try to push you, try to bully you to the ground. But once he does get you to the ground, he's got solid fundamentals and control on top. He's coming off that decision loss to Armen Petrosian, where it was clear he was afraid to exchange in the striking, but he did work in 3 takedowns. I like AJ in this underdog spot. He's the underdog right now, and I like him there because these guys are very similar. I think Tafon is the more technical striker, but AJ has the better wrestling and probably the more sturdy chin. My only hesitation with betting on AJ as an underdog is if that he was afraid to strike with Armen. He's probably going to be afraid to strike with Nchukwi, right? If Armen Petrosian is not a guy you want to be throwing hands with, then definitely Tafon Nchukwi is not a guy you want to be throwing hands with. That's what worries me. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger on a bet yet with AJ Dobson. But if AJ gets his wrestling going, he could absolutely win this fight. He is going to be the pick, but pretty low confidence. Then we have Polyana Viana taking on Iasmin Lucindo. Polyana Viana is a grappler. She's got okay hands, but a very dangerous ground game. She has 4 wins in the UFC, and all 4 are by finish. She is absolutely finish or bust. There is no in between with her because she's either winning early or going to lose a decision. She sets a hard pace. She does struggle with takedowns. She only has a 33% takedown accuracy and oftentimes just relies on her opponents to get it to the ground. But she is coming off her first knockout win in the UFC over Jinh Yu Frey, where her hands were solid and the speed was impressive. She's taking on Iasmin Lucindo. She's also a grappler. She uses her power to clinch and then drag you to the ground. Once on the ground, she's got solid top pressure where she uses strikes to loosen you up, and then she'll transition into a submission. Her striking is just okay. She essentially waits for you to throw, and then she counters and rushes in looking for her takedowns. Her game plan is always to get on top and control the fight there. She's coming off the dominant win over Brogan Walker, where her striking was on point, and she got the only 2 takedowns she attempted. I think this is an Iasmin Lucindo fight all day. Neither one of them are great strikers. And while Polyana got an early standing knockout in her last fight, Iasmin's striking looked very good for 15 full minutes in hers. Polyana's going to be the BJJ threat on the ground, but I trust that Iasmin's defense is going to hold up. I think Iasmin gets as many takedowns as she wants, and I think she avoids all the submissions. So Iasmin's the pick. Probably goes to a decision here. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Cub Swanson. I think he's Jacob's favorite fighter, or at least one of them, or at least his favorite OG fighter for sure. And he's taking on Hakeem Dawodu. Cub Swanson is just a straight-up legend at this point, and he's been a legend for a long time. He's a creative striker with incredible fight IQ and a ton of fun to watch. He's definitely old, he's slow, but he's still insanely tough. You don't get to legend status without being diverse, and that means that Cub can also wrestle. He can grapple. He's averaging more than 1 takedown per fight. Cub's a better all-around fighter in pretty much every matchup, but age is a bitch. He's coming off the TKO loss to Jonathan Martinez, where he looked old, he looked slow, but he reminded us how tough he is and that he does have some tools left because he worked in a nice takedown. He's taking on Hakeem Dawodu. This guy's a high-level striker who throws everything with power. He sets a nice forward pressure pace, and he still manages to have excellent counter punches. He's going to walk forward, throw leg kicks and straights, and then when you fire back, he dips his head, and then he throws again. He's incredibly technical. He's got some very real power, and he's coming off that loss to Juliana, where he was taken down twice and gave up almost a full round of control time. Dawodu is going to be the pick here, but that is based purely on age and speed. That's it. Because Cub officially looked old in his last fight. And if Dawodu maintains distance, relies on speed, he could absolutely win this fight, especially if he attacks the legs like Jonathan Martinez did. But Cub still has tricks up his sleeve. He had a beautiful takedown in his last fight. And if he wants to grapple in this fight, he could end up with a decision win. Same exact way that Julian Abrosa just beat Hakeem Dawodu. But Hakeem's going to be the pick. I would love, perfect world, Cub Swanson finishes Hakeem and then gets his Robbie Lawler farewell retirement. I can't imagine he's going to be fighting too much longer, but Hakeem Dawodu is going to be the pick here. But Cub Swanson could absolutely get some takedowns and then ride out that decision win. Then we have the main event of the evening. It's an interesting main event. It's a good main event. It's not a great main event. Neither one of these guys are going to get a title shot with this win, but you know, we're going to see what happens here, and we're going to see if either one of them can sort of at least get some interesting matchups after this in the welterweight division. We have Vicente Luque taking on Rafael Dos Anjos. Vicente Luque, pretty good everywhere, right? He's got power in his hands. He's got scoured wrestling defense. He's got fantastic submissions if it gets to the ground. At the end of the day, he is a striker, and he's looking to bang it out on the feet. His 61% takedown defense might seem low, but if you remove the Bilal fight, because he fought Bilal Muhammad, since 2017, he has only been taken down 5 times. That's 14 fights. He's been taken down 5 times if you take out the Bilal fight, because Bilal took him down 5 times alone. He's coming off that loss to Jeff Neal, where he lost the first round, the second round, and then he was rocked and then finished in the third. And full disclosure, I've mentioned this many times. I watch the fights when I can. Like, I'll always watch the fights. When I can watch them live, I take notes, because I just want to write down exactly how I was feeling in the moment, so that when I do the breakdowns, I can look at those notes in the moment and then go from there. My notes on Vicente Luque was overrated. And you people are going to set the world on fire because everybody loves Vicente Luque. And I get it. He's good. He's slick. He had a nice little run there for a while. People were screaming for a title shot, but he hasn't looked great in his last couple of fights. Anyway, he's taking on Rafael Dos Anjos. This guy is the former lightweight champion of the world. Some of the newcomers might not realize that. He's incredibly well-rounded, but he is a grappler at heart. He's developed clean striking with some solid volume that's going to trick people into thinking that they're going to strike with him, and then he starts wrestling. He starts working his grappling. He's been pretty inactive the last few years, but he has had some very impressive performances. He dismantled Renato Moicano, who's another guy that people were very high on. He had some success against Fiziev, right? It wasn't a complete drudging. And then he dismantled Brian Barberena. There was a point in time where people were talking about Vicente Luque, and he's the next big thing. And frankly, he is talented. He's very, very talented. But I mentioned my raw note in that last fight was this guy's overrated. I picked Bilal to beat him. Bilal exposed the takedown defense. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Rafael Dos Anjos is going to stay in his face the same way Bilal did. I think Rafael Dos Anjos is going to get the takedowns the same way Bilal did. And the difference is Rafael Dos Anjos is a very, very high-level grappler. Very high-level grappler. Vicente's not going to be the better grappler. Vicente will be faster on the feet. He's going to be light years ahead of Rafael Dos Anjos on the feet. He's going to have the more accurate strikes, but Rafael Dos Anjos is still somewhat technical. He's a little older, a little slower. I'm hoping Rafael goes to the takedowns, stays in Luque's face, grapples heavy. I have a money line on Rafael Dos Anjos at -125. I have no idea if I got good value on that. We're about to find out this week. But I think Dos Anjos is just going to stay in his face, get the takedowns, and grind. Stay in his face, get the takedowns, and grind. Rafael Dos Anjos has been in many, many 5-round fights. Vicente Luque has been in a couple, and he didn't win them. So I'm all about Rafael Dos Anjos here, and I mentioned I have that money line bet on him. Guys, let me send you $50. This is for everybody. I know I pitch premium. We push it. We've got almost, is it almost 3,000? Well over 2,000, I'll say, premium members. And they get all sorts of perks and stuff like that. This, though, this is for everybody. WeWantPicks.com/bets. If you use my link and sign up with one of our sports betting partners, I send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me. I'll break off a chunk, and I'll give it right back to you. We've got 4 different sportsbook affiliates. They all have their pros and cons. They all offer their own deposit match, which you can accept or not. That's up to you. But no matter what, if you use the link and you make a deposit, I send you $50. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. You could use that money to become a premium member. I mentioned premium membership a lot, and I think it's important for me to emphasize as clearly as possible, this is the best value in this space, period, end of story. It is $10 on purpose. It is $10 because I knew we would be as successful as we are. I knew if I made it $10 and if I added more and more value week in and week out, month in and month out, we would have thousands and thousands of members, which we do. We have well over 2,000 premium members. I guarantee we'll have 3,000 before the end of the year. And I guarantee in the next couple of years, we'll have 10,000 premium members. That is on purpose. We continue to add. The latest addition are courses. We have added courses. Right now, we have a DraftKings beginner's guide. You go in there and you could work through the whole thing and understand what is DraftKings fantasy. How does this work? What are all these terms I see? We have a fully written, spec'd out beginner's guide to betting. That will be up there at some point. Don't sign up expecting that. That's not up just yet. But the reality is we're constantly adding things. We have courses. We have tools like the line movement tracker. We have detailed data, metrics, and analytics. And we have more than just one analyst. We have 4 analysts giving you picks, insights, bets, information. Then you have the tools. Then you have the DraftKings lineup optimizer. Then you have DraftKings Insight, FanDuel Insight, prop bet stuff for prize picks, for underdog. The amount of value you get is absolutely insane. That is on purpose. That's why it's $10. So that's the easiest decision you'll ever have to make. Just go to WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member and join the many of thousands of other people that are premium members today.